I was sitting in my Denver apartment on a Tuesday evening halfway through a basketball game when the doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone. When I looked through the peephole, my heart stopped. Jessica, my ex-wife, standing there with a manila envelope in her hands, looking thinner and tired but determined. It had been exactly 1 year since I had walked away from everything we built together. 1 year since I had vanished without a trace. I thought I had disappeared completely, but somehow she had found me. And the question burning in my mind was simple. How did she track me down, and what could possibly bring her here after I ghosted her so completely? But before I tell you what happened when I opened that door, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment below and let me know where you are watching this from. Hit that like button if you have ever had to make a hard choice in your life. And subscribe, because what she said next turned everything I thought I knew about the past year upside down. Trust me, you will want to hear how this ends. Let me take you back to where this all started. I met Jessica during our junior year at the University of Texas. We were both studying business. She was in marketing, I was focusing on software development. She had this magnetic energy that pulled everyone toward her. Charismatic, confident, and beautiful. I always felt like the lucky one, honestly. Sometimes I wondered what she saw in me. We got married when we were 25 years old. It seemed perfect. We built a life together in Austin, bought a small house with a backyard, 2 cars in the driveway. We talked about having kids someday. We took a road trip to Big Bend National Park one summer and spent the night stargazing. I remember lying there on that blanket, looking up at the stars, feeling completely invincible. Like nothing could ever touch what we had. For the first few years, things were good. Really good. I threw myself into my career working as a software developer for a tech startup. Jessica climbed the ladder in her marketing firm. We were both ambitious. We supported each other. Or at least I thought we did. We had our routines. Saturday morning breakfast at our favorite diner. Sunday hikes around the Greenbelt. Evenings cooking dinner together. It felt stable. It felt real. Everyone around us thought we were the perfect couple. My parents loved her. Her parents loved me. Our friends would joke about how we were relationship goals. But then things started changing. Slowly, at first. So slowly I almost did not notice. Jessica began working late. 3 nights a week turned into 4, then 5. She would come home after 9 or 10 at night, exhausted, barely able to hold a conversation. Her phone was always face down on the table. She changed her password, which she had never done before. When I asked about her day, her answers became vague. Generic. She started wearing different perfume. Dressing differently. More effort into her appearance on work days than she ever put in for our date nights. Our sex life went from regular to almost non-existent. When I tried to talk to her about it, she would get defensive. Tell me I was being paranoid, that I was overthinking everything. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust that this was just a phase. My friends told me that marriage goes through cycles, that sometimes work gets overwhelming and people pull away temporarily. I tried to be understanding. Patient. I picked up the slack around the house, made her favorite meals, left little notes telling her I loved her. But the distance kept growing, and my gut kept screaming that something was wrong. Then came the incident that I could not ignore. I found a receipt in her purse while looking for car keys. It was from an expensive steakhouse downtown, a place we had never been to. The total was over $200. Dinner for 2. Wine, dessert. The date stamp showed it was from a Saturday night at 8 p.m. I remembered that Saturday. Jessica had told me she was at a work event, a networking mixer. When I asked her about the receipt, trying to keep my voice calm, she got angry. Really angry. Accused me of going through her things. Said it was a work lunch and she must have mixed up the days. But the receipt clearly said Saturday. 8 p.m. That is not lunch. When I pointed that out, she turned it around on me, made me feel like I was the problem for not trusting her. I ended up apologizing. Actually apologizing for finding evidence of her lie. I felt guilty for doubting her. That should have been my wake-up call. But I still was not ready to face what was really happening. Not yet. Not until the afternoon I came home early from work. It was a Wednesday, about 2 p.m. I had eaten something bad for lunch and felt sick. Food poisoning, I thought. I just wanted to lie down. When I pulled into our driveway, Jessica's car was there. That was unusual. She was never home in the middle of the day. I walked inside quietly, my stomach churning. I could hear sounds coming from upstairs, from our bedroom. My heart started pounding. I walked up the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. The bedroom door was slightly open, and that is when I saw them. Jessica was in our bed with another man. I recognized him. Derek, a colleague from her office. She had mentioned him before. Tall, confident, always dressed in expensive suits. They did not notice me standing there in the doorway. For 10 seconds, I just stood frozen, watching my wife with someone else in the bed we shared. Their clothes were scattered across the floor. Afternoon sunlight was streaming through the window we had picked out curtains for together. And then Jessica laughed. That same laugh she used to give me. I backed away silently. They never knew I was there. I walked downstairs feeling like ice water had replaced the blood in my veins. I could not breathe, could not think. I sat in my car in the driveway for 20 minutes, hands shaking on the steering wheel. My mind was racing. How long had this been going on? How many times had they been together? Who else knew? Was I the only one stupid enough to be in the dark? I drove straight to my best friend Marcus's apartment. Marcus and I had known each other since high school. When I told him what I had seen, he was furious. He wanted me to go back there and confront both of them, throw Derek out, demand answers from Jessica. But sitting there in his living room, something else was forming in my mind. A different kind of plan. I did not want the confrontation. I did not want the drama or the tears or the explanations. I did not want to give Jessica the chance to manipulate me again, to make me feel like I was overreacting, to gaslight me into staying. I wanted to take back control, and I realized that the way to do that was to take away her power completely. I was going to disappear, no warning, no explanation, just gone. Let her come home to an empty house and wonder where I went. Let her feel what it is like to have the ground pulled out from under you. That night, I went home and acted completely normal. Jessica came in around 9:30, kissed me hello, asked how I was feeling. I told her I was better. She smiled and said she was glad. Inside, I felt nothing but cold clarity. Over the next 2 weeks, I executed my plan with precision. I opened a new bank account at a different bank and transferred exactly half of our savings. I consulted with a divorce lawyer, quietly learning everything I needed to know about Texas divorce law. I started looking for apartments in different cities, somewhere far enough that she could not just show up. I found a job opportunity in Denver through LinkedIn. A software development position at a growing company. Better pay, better benefits. I accepted the offer. Start date in 3 weeks. I packed my essential items gradually. Clothes, laptop, important documents, childhood photos. I hid boxes in the trunk of my car. Every morning I would take another load out before Jessica woke up. I photocopied our marriage certificate, tax returns, bank statements, everything I might need. The whole time I kept pretending everything was fine at home. I smiled over breakfast, kissed her goodbye in the mornings, asked about her day in the evenings, and she kept lying, kept sneaking around with Derek. I confirmed it by checking her phone one night while she was in the shower. Text messages, making plans, saying things to him she used to say to me. But her duplicity made it easier. It erased any guilt I might have felt about leaving. She had made her choice. Now I was making mine. I rented an apartment in Denver sight unseen. Just sent the deposit and signed the lease digitally. I filed the divorce papers with my lawyer and arranged for her to be served 3 days after I left. I did not write a letter, did not leave an explanation. I blocked her number, blocked her on every social media platform, set my email to automatically delete anything from her address. I was erasing her from my life as thoroughly as she had betrayed our marriage. The morning I left was a Friday. Jessica left for work at 7:30 a.m., kissed me goodbye, told me she would be home late. Probably meeting Derek, I thought. The moment her car disappeared around the corner, I moved fast. I loaded everything I had packed into my car. I took my clothes, my laptop, personal items, photos of my family. I left all the furniture, all the wedding gifts, all of it. I put my house key on the kitchen counter, put my wedding ring right next to it. No note, just empty space where I used to be. I locked the front door, got in my car, and drove away at 9 a.m. 12 hours to Denver stretched ahead of me. The first few hours of the drive, I felt pure adrenaline. Liberation. By the time I crossed into New Mexico, I started processing what I had actually done. I had walked away from 7 years of my life. By the time I hit the Colorado border, I was feeling this strange mixture of grief and relief. My phone stayed off. She was blocked anyway, but I did not want to see the attempts. I stopped at a roadside diner somewhere in southern Colorado and ate a burger alone at the counter. The waitress asked if I was okay. I told her I was great. And weirdly, I meant it. I felt this sense of peace I had not felt in months. I arrived in Denver at 9 p.m. My new apartment was waiting. It was empty except for an air mattress I had ordered online. I walked in, locked the door behind me, and sat down on that air mattress in the middle of the empty living room. And I smiled. I was free. I found out later what happened on Jessica's end. She came home that Friday evening expecting me to be there, found my closet empty, my side of the bathroom cleared out. She tried calling. The calls would not go through. Blocked. She tried texting. Nothing. She called my work the next Monday. They told her I had resigned 2 weeks ago. She called Marcus. Marcus told her he had nothing to say to her. She was served with divorce papers 3 days after I left. She tried emailing. The emails bounced back. She tried reaching out on social media. I had blocked her everywhere. I had vanished completely, like I never existed. The first 3 months in Denver, I threw myself into work. The new job was challenging in the best way. I rented a 1-bedroom apartment in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. I bought bare minimum furniture from IKEA. I did not care about making it look nice. It was just a place to sleep. I avoided dating, avoided getting close to anyone. I focused on work, hit the gym every morning, and started running in City Park. I lost 15 pounds, got into the best shape of my life. I went to therapy twice a week. My therapist helped me process the betrayal, helped me understand that what Jessica did was not a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of her character. Months 4 through 8, things started shifting. I began making friends at work, joined a recreational basketball league, started hiking the Colorado mountains on weekends. The Rockies became my therapy. There is something about standing on top of a 14,000-foot peak that puts everything in perspective. For the first time in years, I felt like myself. The real me. Not the version of me that existed to make Jessica happy. No one in Denver knew about my past. No one knew about the cheating wife or the ghosting or any of it. I had a clean slate, and it felt incredible. I started dating casually, nothing serious, just coffee dates, dinners, hikes. Testing the waters, learning to trust again. Every month that passed, I felt lighter, freer, more like the person I was supposed to be. By the time the 1-year mark was approaching, I was settled into a routine. I had been promoted at work. I was leading a development team. I moved to a better apartment with a view of the mountains. I had a solid friend group. Hobbies I loved. A life I had built entirely on my own terms. The divorce was finalized at month 9. Jessica had not contested anything. She signed all the papers. We were legally free of each other. I thought of her occasionally. Wondered if she was okay, if she was still with Derek. But the pain had dulled to almost nothing. I was proud of how I had handled everything. No drama, no revenge. I had just disappeared and built something better. One evening I was running along the Cherry Creek Trail. The sun was setting over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. And I realized something. I was genuinely happy. Not just surviving, but thriving. I was grateful for the betrayal, because it had freed me to become this version of myself. The irony was almost funny. Her cheating had given me a better life. And then came that Tuesday evening. I was working from home, finished a project, early ordered Thai takeout. I changed into comfortable clothes and turned on the basketball game. The Nuggets were playing. It was 6:15 p.m. when the doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone. I looked through the peephole, and there she was. Jessica, standing on my doorstep, in Denver, 12 hours from Austin, a full year since I had seen her face. She looked different, thinner, tired. She was wearing designer clothes, but they seemed worn somehow. She was holding a manila envelope. My heart dropped into my stomach. How did she find me? Why now? What could she possibly want? Jessica's face when she saw me was a mixture of relief and anger. Relief that she had found me. Anger that I was standing there real and solid after disappearing on her. She opened her mouth to speak. Her voice came out strained, different from how I remembered. Brady, we need to talk. I stayed in the doorway, did not invite her in. How did you find me, Jessica? She looked down at the envelope in her hands. I hired a private investigator. It took months, cost me thousands of dollars, but I found you. I noticed her looking me over, taking in the changes. I had put on muscle from all the hiking and gym time. I was tan from being outdoors. My hair was longer. I probably looked like a different person. You look good, she said. Different. What do you want, Jessica? I kept my voice flat, emotionless. She held up the envelope. I need you to sign something. It is important. She paused. Can I come in, please? I hesitated. Then something shifted in me. I was not afraid of her anymore. I wanted her to see my life, see what I had built. I stepped aside. Come in. She walked into my apartment, slowly looking around. The space was clean and organized. Photos from my Colorado hikes hung on the walls. Evidence of a life well lived. A life without her. I saw her taking it all in. Saw the realization cross her face. I had not just survived. I had thrived. I gestured to the couch. Sit. She sat down, clutching the envelope. I sat across from her in the armchair, creating distance. Talk. Jessica took a breath. First, I need you to understand something. What happened between Derek and me, it was a mistake. A terrible mistake. I held up my hand. I do not care about that anymore, Jessica. I am over it. Whatever you came here for, just tell me. She looked hurt by that. Good. She opened the envelope and pulled out legal documents. These are papers about the house. Our house in Austin. It is still technically in both our names. I frowned. The divorce settlement gave you the house. I signed it over to you. It is your house now. I know, she said quickly. But there is more to it than that. She was fidgeting with the papers. Nervous. Derek convinced me to take out a second mortgage on the house. He said he had this business opportunity. A sure thing. He needed capital and I trusted him. She paused. I forged your signature on the loan documents. I felt my blood run cold. You did what? I know. I know it was wrong. But Derek said it would only be for a few months. We would make the money back and pay off the loan and you would never need to know. Her voice was getting higher, more desperate. But the business failed. Derek disappeared with the money, and now I owe the bank $150,000. I am facing foreclosure and possible legal charges for fraud. I sat back in the chair, processing this. And you want me to do what exactly? I need you to sign these papers. They transfer responsibility for the loan to you. Or I need you to agree to help me pay off the debt. She leaned forward. Brady, we were married. This debt, it is partly your responsibility. I almost laughed. The audacity was stunning. Let me get this straight. You cheated on me with Derek. I left. You got the house in the divorce. Then you committed fraud by forging my signature to help your boyfriend. The boyfriend you cheated on me with. And now you want me to pay for it. It is not that simple. She was starting to cry now. The same tears that used to work on me. We had good years together, Brady. That has to count for something. You abandoned me. You left without any explanation. You owe me. I watched her cry. Recognized every manipulation tactic. My therapist had taught me about narcissistic patterns. Blame shifting. Guilt tripping. Playing the victim. I was depressed after you left, Jessica continued. Derek took advantage of that. He manipulated me. I am a victim here, too. I felt nothing but pity. She had not changed at all. This was still all about what she needed. There was no genuine remorse for the affair. No real apology. Just her wanting me to fix her mess. Please, Brady. Her voice broke. I could go to jail. Do you really want that? After everything we meant to each other. I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the mountain view I had earned, the life I had built. Then I turned back to her, and I smiled. Actually smiled. Jessica looked confused. I invited her to stay seated, not because I was giving in, but because I wanted to say what I needed to say. Jessica, I am going to tell you something, and I need you to really hear it. I sat back down, looked her straight in the eyes. I saw you that day, with Derek. I came home early from work, walked upstairs, saw you in our bed together. You never knew I was there. Her face went white. Brady, Let me finish. I could have confronted you right then, could have made a scene. But I chose something different. You had taken away my choice in our marriage, by cheating, by lying, so I took back my choice. I chose to leave. On my terms. With my dignity intact. I leaned forward. This past year has been the best year of my life, honestly. I found out who I am without you. I built a career I love, made real friends, discovered parts of myself I had buried trying to make you happy. I gestured around the apartment. This life I have now, I built it from nothing. I am not the same person you married. I am not the same person who left Austin. I am better, stronger, happier. Jessica was crying harder now. So you will not help me. I am not signing those papers. I am not taking responsibility for your fraud. I am not paying 1 cent toward your debt with Derek. That is not my problem. Those were your choices. You face the consequences. But the house was in both our names in the settlement, she said desperately. And I gave it to you. You wanted it. You fought for it in the divorce. Remember, I let you have everything. The house, the furniture, all of it. I walked away with half the savings and my personal items. Any debt you took out on that house after the divorce is entirely yours. Her face crumbled. The reality was sinking in. You are really going to let me go to jail. You are going to put yourself in jail. Your choices, not mine. I pulled out my phone. I think you should leave now, and if you contact me again, I will get a restraining order." She stood up, grabbed the envelope, tried one more time. "I never loved Derek. I loved you. I still love you." "No," I said calmly. "You loved what I did for you. You loved having someone who would fix your problems and ask for nothing in return. There is a difference." I walked to the door, opened it. "Goodbye, Jessica." She paused in the doorway. For the first time, something genuine crossed her face. "I am sorry, Brady, for everything. I really am." It was the first real moment of honesty. But it was too late. "I know," I said. "I forgave you months ago. For me, not for you. So I could move on. And I have." I stepped back. "Take care of yourself." I closed the door, locked it, stood there for a moment leaning against it. My heart was pounding, but not from fear or sadness, from adrenaline, from the rush of standing up for myself, setting boundaries, protecting the life I had built. I realized my hands were not shaking. My voice had been steady the entire time. I had won, not by hurting her, but by simply refusing to be manipulated. I walked back to the window, looked out at the Denver skyline. Jessica had driven 12 hours to find me, had probably rehearsed what she would say. Expected the old Brady, the one who avoided conflict, the one who would do anything to keep the peace. She had met someone different instead, someone who valued himself, someone who understood that not all problems were his to solve. I felt this surge of gratitude for the betrayal that had freed me, for the strength to walk away, for the year that had transformed me into this person. I did not feel angry at Jessica anymore. I just felt indifferent. And I realized something my therapist had told me once. The opposite of love is not hate. It is not caring at all. And I genuinely did not care what happened to her anymore. Her problems were not mine. Her choices were not mine. I had my own life to live. I knew she might try to contact me again, might try other tactics. But I was prepared. I would involve lawyers if I needed to, get a restraining order if she kept showing up. But I suspected she would not. She had seen the truth. I had moved on completely. There was nothing left for her to take. That night I could not focus on the basketball game anymore. I went for a walk through my neighborhood. It was a cool Denver evening. Stars were visible above the city lights. I thought about who I was a year ago. Broken, betrayed, lost. And who I was now. Whole, healed, found. The journey had been worth every painful step. In the weeks after Jessica's visit, I processed everything in my therapy sessions. My therapist helped me understand that the way I had left the ghosting was exactly what I needed. Not for revenge, but for protection. I had protected my dignity, my peace, my future. Some people do not deserve explanations. Some situations do not deserve closure conversations. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is just walk away and never look back. I thought about the transformation I had gone through. From a man who needed validation from his wife to a man who validated himself. From someone who avoided conflict at all costs to someone who set clear boundaries and enforced them. From broken to rebuilt. And the rebuilding had not happened despite the pain. It had happened because of it. The betrayal had forced me to face parts of myself I had been ignoring. Had forced me to grow in ways I never would have if I had stayed comfortable. I felt grateful for the entire journey. In Denver, I had met amazing people who became real friends. I had found career success I never imagined possible. I had discovered parts of myself that had been buried during my marriage. I loved hiking. I found peace in the mountains. I became comfortable being alone. And that comfort with solitude made me better in relationships. I was dating someone new now. Her name was Lauren. We had met at a work conference. She knew my whole story, knew about Jessica, about the ghosting, about everything, and she respected my pace. We were taking things slow, building something real on a foundation of honesty. 6 months after Jessica's visit, I got another promotion at work. I bought a small condo with a balcony that had a mountain view. It was mine, truly mine. Every piece of furniture I picked out, every decision I made, this was the life I had built with my own hands. My own choices. No regrets, no looking back. I thought about Jessica sometimes, wondered if she had gotten help, if she had faced the consequences of her fraud, if she was okay. But her journey was not my concern anymore. I hoped she found peace. I hoped she learned from her mistakes. But I did not need to be part of that process. What I learned through all of this changed me forever. I learned that sometimes walking away is the strongest choice you can make. You do not need to announce your departure to make it powerful. You do not need the confrontation or the final conversation. You just need to know your worth and act accordingly. I learned that healing happens when you stop waiting for the apology. Stop waiting for the other person to understand what they did. Stop needing them to validate your pain. You validate it yourself. You choose to move forward. I learned that I could not control what others did, could not control who they became or what choices they made. But I could absolutely control how I responded, and I chose to respond with strength. Not bitterness, not revenge, just the quiet strength of removing myself from a toxic situation and building something better. I learned that betrayal reveals character, theirs and yours. Jessica's betrayal revealed that she was capable of deception and selfishness. My response revealed that I was capable of self-respect and growth. I learned that not all endings need confrontation. Not all questions need answers. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let the questions remain unanswered. Let the other person sit with the uncertainty they created. Peace comes from letting go, from releasing the need to understand why, from accepting that some people will never give you the closure you want. So you give it to yourself. Forgiveness is for yourself, not for them. I forgave Jessica, not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. Because carrying anger was exhausting. Because resentment was a prison I no longer wanted to live in. I learned that moving forward beats looking back every single time. Your worth is not determined by who stays in your life. It is determined by how you stand up for yourself, by the boundaries you set, by the life you build when everything falls apart. I learned that sometimes the best revenge is no revenge at all, just living well, living freely, living authentically, being the person you are meant to be without anyone holding you back, without anyone making you smaller to make themselves feel bigger. Now, sitting on my balcony on a Sunday evening watching the sunset paint the Rockies in shades of orange and purple, I feel complete. There is a cup of coffee in my hand. The air is cool. The silence is peaceful. I think about how far I have come, how much I have grown. I used to think disappearing was running away. Cowardice. But now I know it was running toward something better. Toward myself. Toward the life I deserved. Toward peace. And that made all the difference. So I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to make a choice between confronting someone who hurt you and just walking away? Drop a comment and let me know your story. I read every single one. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because I share more stories like this every week. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who is struggling to leave a bad situation. Someone who needs to know that it is okay to choose yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps you in some way. I hope it reminds you that you are stronger than you think, that you can rebuild, that you can thrive. Take care of yourself out there. You deserve peace. You deserve happiness. And you deserve to be with people who treat you with respect. Until next time.